I am here. I'm very excited because one, it's a celebration.
Holiday.
I am here with the one and only Mike Killmon, who is a music industry executive and Madonna fan, which how could you not be? Welcome, Mike, to Pop Culture Weekly.
Thank you for having me. Finally.
I
I've been
know,
up.
seriously. And it's the perfect, well, that's why when this came up, I'm like, it's the perfect reason for you to come on and perfect for you, too, you know?
It's fun. I love to do it. I love to be here and love to talk about my favorite human ever.
Absolutely. I mean, there's something wrong with you if she's not your favorite human ever. Madonna this week, depending on when you're listening, if you're listening the day this comes out, like you obviously should be listening the day it comes out, her latest compilation, Finally Enough Love, 50 number ones, is out on streaming and physical and vinyl and digital, and 50 freaking number ones is absolutely insane. Don't you think? Like, that's crazy.
Incredible. Consistent number ones. There's no gaps, there's no comebacks.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
legacy artists, no shade.
Yeah.
They come and go and ebb and flow, and maybe they'll have a hit every 10 years. These are consistent since the day she gave her tape to that DJ at Danceteria until, this week with Beyonce and
Yeah.
the remix number one. Here's Vogue back on the charts. Like, what? Like,
Yeah.
consistent number ones.
It's insane. And, I was looking through as we were doing show prep, I'm looking through and I'm just like, it really is astounding. Like you said, there's no gap. And these are soundtracks to so many people, pop music for sure, radio for sure. Over 400 million records sold. I mean, it pisses me off when people are like, Madonna, like blah, blah, blah. I mean, I realize she's gotten that her whole career, but like, you're an idiot if you don't give her props. Plain and simple.
Even the haters, like, they're still talking about her.
Mm-hmm.
They have been since she came out. They will be long after. She'll still be around. She'll outlive all of us,
Yes.
and she'll still be putting out hits. We'll be doing this special 20 years later with 100 number ones because
Right.
there's no signs of slowing down. I mean, and they're just timeless. They're from everybody to I don't search, I find with Honey Dijon. Like, they're just great. She makes great music. She makes great records, and she's a part of that as a producer, as a writer. Like, nobody can write a hook, a pop music hook like Madonna. She curates the remixes herself. She's so hands-on and she's so passionate about it. And I think that's what gives to the longevity of it. And people love it, even if they say they don't. The numbers say otherwise.
Exactly. I love that because that's what it comes down to is you can hate her all you want, but she brings the receipts in the charts, in the sales, in the tickets sold. To me, it's not a Madonna problem. It's a you problem if you don't like.
And she's having
Madonna.
fun and
Yep.
she looks great. And
Yeah.
the thing is, like, let her have fun. And if you have fun with her, it's a celebration, no pun intended. Like, it's fun to go with her. You don't have to, this ageism, this sexism. It's cool to critique Madonna, like, oh, she looks awful, she's too old, she needs to retire, she needs to sit down. It's like, no, just have fun. Like, I wish I looked like that at 24, let alone 64. I know
Right.
she doesn't like when we bring up her age. She's ageless, she's timeless. But
It's 64 in human years. It's like
right.
30 in Madonna years.
And everybody gets into the groove whether they want to admit it or not. And I think it's fun to see this new generation kind of discovering her on TikTok and
Yeah.
with shows like Stranger Things and the remixes with Saucy Santana and Beyonce, and more to come. They'll
Yeah.
probably out throughout the year, and as she's working on her film, her visual autobiography, not biopic. And nobody does it like her. She's such a bad bleep.
Yep, you
Like,
can say it.
yeah, she's just a bad mother.
Yep.
And like, Your favorite could never. I mean, the sex book, erotica, they're great pieces of art, but they're bold, as edgy and as controversial as people want to be, in the moment. Like, she paved the way, but it stands the test of time.
Hmm.
And especially, you can tell on these records when you're listening through to these remixes and the originals, they're just great records
They
and great
really,
pieces of
really are.
art. And the videos are art. That's why they're in MoMA. And that's the exciting thing about Madonna. And I love the YouTube reaction videos of people watching her tours and videos for the first time, and they're like, "What?"
And
Like,
yeah, and you're absolutely right. I mean, there would not be what we see in pop concerts today if it wasn't for Madonna. She opened that door for all of them. There would be no Beyonce or Justin Timberlake or Britney or any of these people without Madonna, and every one of them would agree with that.
yeah, they're the first to admit it.
From the empowerment of being a woman in the music industry and then starting your own label and kind of taking control of your career, that had not happened before at the level that it did with Madonna, and that changed the music industry, and which changed music.
Totally. I mean, she sets the narrative. She's the queen, and
She
she
is.
continues to. So in 20 years from now, when, I don't know, Christina Aguilera is in her 60s and dancing around in a bra and whatever, and people won't raise an eyebrow, just remember that when Madonna was doing it, all the heat that she got, and she'll probably still be doing it. And
Right.
don't get it twisted. She's probably the smartest woman in entertainment
I agree.
and one of the smartest in business in general. I mean, she's just so involved in every single aspect of her career. And that's what it's authenticity in the
Hmm.
narrative. And it's her narrative. And that's not marketing. That's not a group of people trying to figure out, like, what are we going to do to be relevant? This is the producer you need to work with. She's just going to go with her instinct like she always has. She's an incredible artist, and have fun and just go with it and do it and get into her groove. And I hope with this release, like, people will be like, yeah, this is fun. Oh yeah, we remember, like, all the BS aside, like all of the social media commentary, like trolling, like whatever. That's in the moment. That's a second. That is what it is. It's irrelevant to an artist like Madonna, whose legacy and music and just presence in everybody's life is undeniable, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Whether you're in a club, like the trendiest club in LA or New York or London or Amsterdam or Tokyo, like, everybody's going to know that song. They're going to know it's Madonna. Or if you're grocery shopping or at Walgreens or at CVS, like waiting for your prescription, and you're like, oh yeah, like Borderline comes on it, or Vogue or whatever, or Ray of Light, and you're like, yes. But then at the same time, it comes on at the club, and it's the same reaction, except
Yeah.
she just transcends.
Absolutely. And there are, I would say, the Beatles, Michael Jackson, and Elvis are really the group, with Madonna. I mean, there really are no other, and obviously she's the only female in that group. There are no peers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There are no peers.
she's always been a unicorn though, right? But there's room to love everybody else. Like, I love
Of
Janet
course.
Jackson too.
Of
I love
course.
Cher. I love Madonna. It doesn't have to be like,
Either
I
or.
love Janet, we hate Madonna. Like, music makes the people come together. There's room to love everybody. Like, finally enough love. There's enough to go around. Everybody
Exactly. And
calm
amen to that.
down, have fun. Like, let's collaborate. Like, let's just enjoy the moment, enjoy the music, enjoy the show that she's putting on, and be a part of it. And that's the general essence of her, I think. And I think that's what makes her so enigmatic and so impressive and so relatable, whether people like to think that or not, or admit it
Hmm. Yeah,
publicly here. And I mean, and
absolutely.
she's done it on her own terms as a woman from the 80s and 90s, 2000s to now. It says a lot
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
the world, especially.
Yeah, there are no other artists in her genre or in her from her time period that are as relevant and impactful today as she is. I mean, there's there's just isn't at that level. It just doesn't happen. She is one of one. But as you said, that doesn't mean that Beyonce Bayhive, who attacked me last week, that doesn't mean that there is not space for other artists that are also amazing and talented and great music and great show. Like there's room, there's room.
There's room
So
for everybody. There's
yeah.
a Madonna reference for everything. Okay.
So tell me, what are some of your favorite Madonna number ones?
This is such a hard question. Dance number ones or Hot 100 number one?
Dance number ones.
I'm gonna have to say I am partial and I'm biased to Tracy Young's remixes. I love Tracy Young's remix of I Rise, and
That is
she
a
won a Grammy
great one.
for.
Yeah.
First female producer, I think, to win a Grammy for I
In
Rise.
that category, yeah,
Yeah,
that is a really, really, really good remix of an amazing song.
incredible, moving, and important. And the fact that she performs songs like that in countries like Russia, where
Yeah,
it's illegal, like Madonna does a lot for all kinds of communities, marginalized and otherwise.
yeah.
But back to the music. Some of my other favorite ones. I love what it feels like for a girl, the Above and Beyond
One
remix.
of my favorites.
Nothing Really Matters, that Club 69 remix. It's just, I tend to go back and forth between like these deep house cuts and the more pop leaning ones.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many and they're so
They
different.
are. They
So
are.
many we haven't heard yet. The early William Orbit remixes of like Justify My Love and
Mm.
Erotica, those are just gritty and amazing. Yeah, you can't ask me what my favorite number one is because I'm gonna literally sit here and name all 50
All
of these.
50. What about the album versions or single versions of her 50 number one hits? If you had to pick some of your and of course it would probably would be different if I asked you next week too, right?
Oh yeah, it totally depends on the mood.
Absolutely.
I mean, Ray of Light did not hit number one on the pop charts, but that's definitely up there. I love her ballads too, even though we're in a dance mood. We're dancing right now, celebrating. But songs like This Used to Be My Playground are just like timeless.
Yeah.
Music holds a special place in my heart. I worked at Sam Goody when that single came out, specifically for that reason.
Oh, did you work there for that?
Yeah,
That's
well, I
awesome.
wanted to work there since I was two. I was lucky enough to grow up with older brothers and sisters, so we had a jukebox with 45s, and I became obsessed with Material Girl. I was like two, so I had this Barbie, and then my parents bought me the album and the tape, and so I used to put my Like a Virgin cassette tape into my Teddy Ruxpin,
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, there was no coming out needed for me. But we used to go to
Teddy
Camelot,
Ruxpin did it for you.
yeah, and my Jim and the Hologram stalls, like perform. And to Madonna, I would badger this manager at the mall from when I was a little kid. I was like, "Can I work here?" And she's like, "When you're 16, come back and ask me for a job." So on my 16th birthday, I got my license that morning, went right over to Sam Goody, and I was like, "I'm 16, I'm ready to start." They were like, "Okay, Mike." No, it was in August, and music was just coming out. So that one holds a special place in my heart.
That's
And
so cool.
yeah, it still hits. It's such a great record.
It is, and I love, but I love for you that, and that's one of my favorites too, music. But I love for you how that has such meaning for you, and then really it kind of set the course of the rest of your life.
It did. Shout out Liz Rosenberg.
There you go.
I was like, it's this bold 16-year-old. Email was new-ish at the time. And I was like, my name's Mike Killmon, and I work at Sam Goody in Salisbury, Maryland. And I won a sales record for the music album. And she was like, okay, hit me when you get to college. So again, like, we'll hold you to it.
Yeah.
Or like first day of school, like roll into Fordham. I'm like, oh, I can't do orientation. I need to find Liz Rosenberg. Like
That's
she's
so
like, okay,
awesome.
when you're a junior, let me know.
And then you took the accelerated program at school.
Yeah. And I love American Life.
That is
Um,
such a great song, and I feel like it's so underrated. Honestly, is probably my two, top three. It goes back and forth. The top three favorite Madonna albums is American Life, and
Same.
feel like American Life, the single, just got a lot of heat for that rap, which I thought was ironic because it was like she's in on the joke, like that's the point. And then people were like, "What?" Like I don't, but it's such a good song. I love that song.
Yeah, I love American Life, the album, the single. People don't give her, they don't understand her sense of humor. She's got
Mm,
probably one of the best sense of humor out there. Like she's funny, she's ironic, and a lot of that goes over people's heads.
yeah.
But and then trailing right off of American Life, like what a great record. Like you've never heard anything like this. And then you go into Hollywood, like amazing. Like what a record. Like people go revisit this album and these singles. Yeah, those are my favorites. I love the newer material. A lot of my favorites did not hit number one, and a lot of them weren't even singles. Like Nobody Knows Me and
That is actually one of my favorites off
yeah,
of music. Actually, one of my favorites of all of hers. Should
Awful
have been a
American
single.
Life
Oh, what did I say?
music.
Yes.
But we can talk about music. I mean, Amazing should have been a single. Impressive.
Amazing was a good one. I'm actually surprised. Amazing. Impressive Instant was another one. Oh my God. Impressive Instant. I feel like we need a hashtag for justice for Impressive Instant and justice for Nobody Knows Me because they are two songs that needed to be singles and weren't. And they're
Never say
so
never with
good.
Madonna. I mean,
Hmm.
you know,
Especially with TikTok now and, who knows what could happen.
you
So,
know, I can't even go to an airport or to the grocery store and see a conveyor belt without the urge to do the choreography of Nobody Knows Me from the Reinvention Tour. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go on YouTube and look it up. And that's choreography on a conveyor belt. That's and Nobody Knows Me. That remix.
From
Yeah.
her recent stuff, you said you've been loving a lot of her recent hits. What would you say are a couple of your faves?
I mean, I think Living for Love was genius. It should have been a massive hit, but
Me too.
there's still a little bit of ageism in our industry that she's paving the way. She's still pounding that wall down. Ghost Town was such a great
Mm,
record. The Rebel Heart era was plagued with leaks and
yeah.
rushes, but I still think it was amazing. I loved Medellin with Maluma.
Hmm.
It's so hard for me to narrow it down because they're all so different.
Yeah.
So
And they're good. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
they're great. They're amazing. And I'm Addicted from MDNA.
That is a great song.
And that's just so high energy and just like frantic and fun. And then you have songs like Masterpiece, which won the Golden Globe on the same
Hmm.
record. Like, there's a song for every mood, there's a song for every vibe. So, asking me what my favorites are is tricky.
Tough.
Oh, you know what? I want to rewind
Okay.
because I think my all-time favorite, one of them, it varies, but it stays in the top three is Erotica.
Mm. That is a
I
great song.
it is I just love it. I always have since it came out. I was in fourth grade. I got the cassette single and I got the CD maxi single and the CD single. And then when the album came out in October, my parents got it for me and the edited version, of course. I brought it into school. I got suspended. So I wear it as a badge of honor, but it was a great album and it is a great album. That's also overlooked by the
It
country.
is. It is an overlooked one. I think for me, "Living for Love" for sure. Off of her, off out of her 50 number ones from Finally Enough Love, "Living for Love" is totally, totally hashtag justice for Living for Love. Celebration should have been a giant smash, played on every single radio station ever. And that
It's
pisses me
not too
off.
late.
It is not too late. Give It to Me is another one
Ah,
that
yes.
is just so good, and I absolutely loved it. And then, Like a Prayer, I think will always have a place in my heart as a Catholic, recovering Catholic. Uh,
Same.
and Into the Groove is another classic one, especially the mix on Finally Enough Love, which I believe is what the You Can Dance mix or something. It's, in my opinion, it is a easily accessible remix for the general public. It's
Right.
not like a crazy remix that you would hear in a club, and you would feel out of place to the general public. And I love that about it. It's just like a fresh take, even though it's 30 years old or whatever it is. It's like a fresh take if you're hearing it today on a classic song, and that song is just so incredible.
I love it. I
Um,
mean, Into Groove, that's one of those songs where you hear it at the grocery store, CVS, or wherever, and also in the club. The same remix.
yeah,
It could be the remix from Finally Enough Love, and it still hits.
yeah,
Like it just fits everywhere. I love that about this compilation too, the way it kind of eases from, I don't want to say softer remixes, but more accessible, more
right.
true to the originals. And then, as the 80s progress, as she progresses, the remix go a little bit harder, and then you
Mm-hmm.
get those 90s. And then by the time you hit, Bedtime Story and Secret and Human Nature, and then especially with Frozen and Ray of Light music, and then
Yeah.
we're in the club. Like, but it's such a great listening experience, both versions, the 50 number
Absolutely.
ones and the 16 track one. Like, it's just such a journey. Everything she does is cathartic, and it's organic, and it's accessible, and it's fun.
Yeah. Oh,
And
which reminds me, as you're saying, accessible and fun, Hung Up
uh,
is one of my all-time favorites. So I'm with you. I would have a really, really, really hard time putting my personal top 10 together because it's just going to change every day, probably.
yeah, and Justice for Future Lovers.
Oh, that was a great track. And the opening on Confessions Tour was
Future Lovers.
yeah, and it was just took you to another world, you know.
Yeah, can't
Hearing
be.
that rumble and all, it was just crazy.
I mean, Stuart Price, just such a genius.
Yeah,
Mixed with Donna Summer and the visuals and just that bass line.
yeah,
The woman knows how to put on a show
absolutely.
and remix it. And
Keep it
I love
fresh
that. Remixed
and
and revisited,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, that was a great one. I remember that. That was what Gap, right?
Yeah, that Into the Hollywood Groove with Missy Elliott, that was part of that compilation.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a cool little side note of Madonna's career. I feel like I feel like
Yeah.
it wasn't like a crazy big thing, but it was just like a fun campaign.
Yeah, it was something cool. It was Missy and Madonna just remixing and revisiting Into the Groove in Hollywood, and then maybe a little bit overshadowed by the VMA performance, which is so iconic. Never can be replicated or duplicated.
Yeah,
Like, who would think, what was it, the 2003 VMAs, like Madonna kissing Christina and Britney would be such a huge controversy and
yeah,
people would freak out. Like now, and what year is it? 2022.
right,
People would be like, meh. But
right,
if Madonna did it,
exactly,
I'm sure they would have something to say about it.
absolutely.
Again, paving the way, like just simple things. But behind all of those, not stunts, performances,
Hmm.
are great records. Like I think she performed the Thin White Duke remix of Hollywood on,
Yes, yeah,
not on 50 number ones, but I think there's another remix on this compilation. But even the remixes, there's something for everybody. They're also different. And the fact that she curates them and co-produces them with the remixers and is in the studio working with the engineers and the producers and the writings, it's just so, as a musician, it's so impressive.
yeah,
And don't give her credit behind the boards,
absolutely.
Madonna behind the boards.
And even for Finally Enough Love, she worked with Mike Dean, who of course she worked with on Madam X and I believe Rebel Heart. Kind of remastering these to sound absolutely incredible, crisp, just like they were released today. you know?
Yeah.
And I love that. And who would do that themselves? What artist would do that themselves, you know? And I love that about her, that she she doesn't leave it to other people ever.
Absolutely not. She's the queen.
Of course.
This is her legacy. That's why everything is, it's again so authentic, because it's coming from her. It's coming from an authentic place. And she's a dancer. She understands musicality, but she's also a musician. She was a drummer. And and she's learned, and you can hear the growth in the production from her. And working with Monty as a guitarist, it's just so incredible. There's just so many different, this conversation could go on for days
It
about
literally could.
the variations of great Madonna records and different genres that she touches on, but they all come from an authentic place, because nobody's one dimensional,
Yeah.
and her music's not one dimensional. And there's up, there's down, there's all around. It's all about survival.
What was that? Erotica, right? The record.
Stories.
It was the Bedtime Stories record.
Yeah.
Survival.
Yeah. Yeah, and she really just doesn't give a fuck. She just wants to make great music and say what she has to say and keep it moving. There are, songs of hers are like tattoos. They're like markers in her life. You can remember where you were when you heard it.
Yeah.
Takes you back to a time, and with this compilation, create new memories.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And, I was out in the UK a few weeks ago at kind of this underground hip hop club, and all of a sudden it was like, I don't even know what the streets are listening to, but then all of a sudden this remix of Human Nature comes on, and I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I had to just damn it. And I'm like, this is an official Madonna remix. Like, like it just fit right in. So like, and again, authentic, because that's just who she is. She's a woman of the people, of all of them.
Absolutely. So we are going to count down of what our listeners have picked. So, all right. So we asked our Pop Culture Weekly listeners and iHeart Radio listeners across the country, what are their top 10 favorite Madonna number ones? I love that. I just peeked at this, and this is pretty cool. We're going to start back from number 10. So the 10th most favorite Madonna number one out of her 50 number ones is Ray of Light, which is such a good song. And every time that she has done this on tour, I think is a highlight of that show.
Incredible. Electric guitar version,
yeah.
Sure. Techno version, sure. Sasha remix, sure. Calderon remix, done. Like, and can you imagine like trying to perform that song live the way that she does?
Not at all.
Performing it, singing it live, and then dancing to it. I get out of breath like just trying to, after the first like, and like I'm like trying to like and I'm like like she's just rocking out, dancing it like.
Yeah, it really is, to me, just an incredible song, and I love that, like you said, all the different versions live, and you've got to hear it. So good. Number 9, Music. Love, love, love this song, and it is well deserved.
I'm surprised that Ray of Light and Music are 10 and 9.
I know. I'm actually surprised at the order of this list.
Yeah, okay.
And I think it's interesting. So, all right, number 8, Express Yourself.
I mean,
great song.
Yeah. Don't go for second best, baby.
Never. And that includes for Tinder too. So, number, what am I? 10, 9, 8. I'm bad at math. 7.
Wait,
10,
right?
9,
7.
Yeah.
Lucky 7.
Yeah. 10 is Ray of Light. 9 is Music. 8 is Express Yourself. 7 is Erotica.
Yeah.
Which I am really surprised to see that as the 7th favorite Madonna number 1.
Progress.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So apparently there's justice for erotica out there. Number number 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, Secret.
That was
Such
all
a
there.
good song. And I was genuinely happy that Secret is on there because I feel like it's overlooked. But
So good.
apparently, to Pop Culture Weekly listeners, to iHeartRadio listeners, it is not an overlooked Madonna song.
They've got taste. What can
They
you
do.
say?
I love our audience.
Secret. It's so great. It's just so, I mean, they could throw it on into rotation today and it fits. All of these actually
Yeah,
do.
yeah, they really do.
You know,
That's kind of the incredible thing is any of these songs could be played today, and you it wouldn't be out of place with whatever else is being played.
Secret. Such a jam.
It is, and I love the guitar vibe, and then the little piano, the do 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 do.
Yeah.
You know, I love that.
Overshadowed by the controversy that preceded it with erotica,
Yeah,
unfortunately. But
yeah, it really is. I'm really happy to see Secret on here.
me too.
Number 5, Frozen, which is another good song. Somebody posted something on Twitter or something yesterday of Madonna performing Frozen. I want to say it was for the first time, and it was at like the National Lottery concert or something
Okay.
in
Like in an
the
all black leather dress or something.
yes, yes,
That
with big like
ethereal.
puffy like balls on her shoulder
Yeah.
and or whatever they're called. Clearly, I'm a fashionista. It was like the UK, like a lottery thing, and apparently it was
Yeah.
like the most watched series in the UK or something. So she did that, and it was really really cool. And I had forgotten just how incredibly powerful that song is. Those strings, just everything about it is just such a great song.
What a game changer that was. I
Yeah.
just remember being in ninth grade and it coming out and like MTV and VH1 and everybody, it was like Madonna, Madonna. And you know, this new Madonna, this ethereal, kabbalistic mother Madonna, and you're like, okay, cool, whatever. I love Madonna. I mean, I've always been on the Madonna train. So you're coming off of Evita, and people were like, man, she's not that cool. But I remember like everybody in my high school, even the street guys, where like when Frozen came out, like you couldn't avoid it, and you were just like, "What am I watching?" And like, this is incredible. What is this sound?
Yeah.
Like, and it's just, it was gorgeous and it was cool and it was electronic and it was different and it was such a vibe. And then the remixes, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
that was actually the first time I think that I always collected like the maxi singles
Yeah.
myself on CD and like decorated my room with them. But until the Ray of Light era is when I really started to appreciate the remixes and actually enjoy them and listening to them. And the Frozen remixes, I was like, these are dope.
And I feel like it was a bold choice to go with a ballad for the first single.
Yeah.
Especially coming off of what Something to Remember and Evita, and then kind of, or maybe it wasn't. You know, I mean, well, obviously
Well,
it
I
wasn't, but
mean, I'm sure there was some record label executive that would just like come back with Ray of Light as the first single and hit them like with the big new reinvented Madonna like dance banger anthem reinvented. And people forget that was her label.
right.
So she called the shots and she said, "Thank you very much for your opinion, but I'm going with Frozen,
Yeah.
and this is how I'm going to do it."
Yeah,
And
and you know it was bold and it clearly worked. Pretty incredible looking back on it now that that was the first single, because like you said, the easy thing to do would have been to throw out Ray of Light and to go with Frozen. You know, it's such a good song.
smart.
Absolutely. Number 4 is Like a Prayer, one of the
Woo!
greatest songs of all
Wow.
time.
I was expecting like a prayer to be number one.
I know.
You know, just because it usually is.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like a lot of fans really put some thought into this. And I think I told you we had over 8,000 votes on this. So that, you know, in
But
like less than 24 hours. So that's
yeah, I'm
awesome.
like, yeah, well, how long is that poll was out for like 10 minutes?
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like they put some thought into this because these were not the songs that I were expecting for the top 10 or the order that I was expecting them to be in. So pretty cool.
But
And of
all
course,
iconic. Every
exactly.
single one of them
E-
iconic and
Ex-
also different.
Exactly. That's the other thing about this. It's if you didn't know who Madonna was because you lived under a rock for the last 40 years and you heard these songs, you'd be like, that's different artists or whatever. It would be hard to fathom that these are all from the same person.
Right.
And they are.
Like a Prayer is that song that comes on at a bar, at a street bar, at a gay bar, at wherever you are, and everybody's singing along
Yep.
on the school bus, like in the car. Like it's like that jam. People hear these songs and they can't help themselves. But I think
Absolutely.
in my personal experience, Like a Prayer is that one that really gets everybody on their feet and singing along and into that good mood. So I'm surprised that it's in the middle,
I know. I
not
know.
number
Me
one,
too.
but
But when you have 50 number ones, it is hard to, you know what I mean? It's hard to
exactly.
put everything in. The
And
fire
if you've
alarm is
learned
going
any,
off. Hopefully, the building's not on fire. Anyway.
that's because these songs are so hot,
That's exactly right.
right?
We are catching the building on fire.
Are we burning up?
Which is another incredible, incredible Madonna song. I really hope we're not on fire. But anyway, I'm sure I'll see smoke or something. Number 3, Into the Groove.
Okay.
Such a classic. We talked about that one. Number
Iconic.
iconic. Number 2, Hung Up. I'm so glad to see that so high. That
The
I
kids, they love Hung Up.
I remember that music video come out and just being astounded by the whole thing. Everybody was playing that song everywhere, old, young, black, white, didn't matter. That was just such a massive hit.
And again, before people were doing jumping on the dance music, Euro pop train, whatever you want to call it,
Exactly.
like she just completely switched it up and was like, I'm going to do a disco album,
Yep.
sample ABBA. And I think that's the first time ABBA actually let somebody sample it.
Sample him, yeah. And Dua Lipa, who I absolutely love, her album Future Love Songs or whatever. What's it called? Future Nostalgia. There you go. I absolutely love that album from front to back. However, that album could not exist without Confessions on a Dance Floor. I mean, it's just facts.
I mean, Hung Up, another one. You just hear it and people they just want to dance.
Yeah.
And yeah, such a great one. And she felt that summer, right? She fell off her horse on her birthday and broke, I don't remember how many bones it was.
Yeah.
Like collarbones, ribs, shoulders, and then I guess Hung Up. Confessions came out in November 2005. Yeah. Anyway, so she had broken all of these bones in August, and I guess they shot the video maybe in October or whenever it came out, and there she was doing Dance Dance Revolution with these teenagers.
Yeah.
Like nothing had, like she hadn't skipped a beat. She looked great. I'm sure it hurt.
Yeah.
They fell, and then she went on that tour.
Yeah, which was insane to do after an accident like that, and then go and do all these extremely dance-oriented projects, including a freaking world tour. You know,
I
just
mean, the
nuts.
choreography for that project alone, the videos, the roller skating, and Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, Sorry's a great one. Yeah.
I mean,
And Get Together. I love that one too.
people love Get Together.
And they love to get together.
Yeah.
Number 1. What do you think it is? Vogue.
Hey!
Number 1 is Vogue, and I love that because that is such an iconic song. And it is interesting because it is back at number 1 this week with the Queen's remix of Break My Soul. Break My Soul. And
thank you, Madonna, for giving Beyonce. Is this her first number 1 single in how many years?
14.
Ooh.
14 years.
Thank you, Madonna. We love you, Beehive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Vogue's having a moment. And
yeah, it's very apropos. Whatever the word is. This is why I don't use fancy words, because then I can't pronounce them and make myself
It's a
look
banger. It's a classic. People love it. Strike a pose and live your life on the dance floor.
And the
Right.
music video, I mean, is iconic. You know, that old Hollywood glamour mixed with kind of like house.
Mm.
Just the whole thing is just iconic, and that's why iHeartRadio and Pop Culture Weekly listeners have dubbed it their number one Madonna hit. If you had to guess, out of her 50 number ones, what do you think were the three least voted for?
I'm gonna say maybe nothing fails.
No, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, I
So,
love nothing fails,
yeah,
but
of course. And
I'm
let's at the end of the day, we are talking about the least voted for number one hits. You know what I mean? So it's not like any of these are bad. We are still talking about number one hits. Number three, the third least voted for was Turn Up the Radio, which, first of
see
all, rude. This is on iHeartRadio. So, guys, what the hell?
people
Um,
have a love-hate relationship with it. They either love it or they hate it. One of my best friends, a huge Madonna fan, loathes that song. I love it. I think it's fun and catchy.
So what's interesting is when the album came out, I absolutely loved it. And I'm like, oh, it's cool. Like turn up the radio and blah 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 blah. And now I'm like, meh,
Yeah.
and it just might be the mood that I'm in, like in this season of my life. And the next season, I might be like, yeah, turn up the But I just went from absolutely loving it to being like, meh, I don't even know how that happens. But when you have 50 number ones and a catalog of what, 14, 13 studio albums, you're going to have a whole varied bunch of favorites change, as we talked about.
I wonder if
This,
she even remembers that one.
I know.
Probably, she has so many, and she's like,
The second least voted for number one, Give Me All Your Lovin'.
Okay, so people aren't really feeling MDNA.
Which is interesting because MDNA, Jesus.
Right.
I was going to say MDMA is one of my favorites. MDNA is one of my favorites. I absolutely, really, really, really love that album. And Give Me All Your Lovin', I thought was so appropriate for the Super Bowl. As the lead single off of that album, and then performing at the Super Bowl, it just worked. What I really, really love is the MDNA tour version of "Give Me All Your Lovin'."
Incredible. I
Absolutely
mean,
incredible.
what was she hanging from the ceiling with pom
Yeah,
poms and strapped and flying all around in a marching band, like recreating the Super Bowl in an arena? It was
yeah,
again an example of Madonna just having fun and just go with it. Don't take it.
exactly.
Not everything's gonna be Drowned World, Substitute for Love, Ray of Light, or Hung Up. Like she's doing the Super Bowl. She wants to do a cheer song. It's fun. She's got
Yeah,
Nicki Minaj and MIA. Like, let's do this. Like,
exactly.
it's fun. But I guess okay, people in this poll really that's just not their favorite.
And I bet if we did this next year, these would be a totally different bottom three. So, now the number one least voted for, and again, this sounds like it's a bad thing. It's not. It was still number freaking one. You know what I mean? So, like, the least voted for number one is still a huge, not only achievement, but your faves could never. I'm joking. There's room for everyone, but your faves could never.
Well, there is room for everyone, but your faves could never. Is an
Exactly.
accurate statement. Let me see. Let me try to guess.
I'm
What are
curious.
fans' least favorite Madonna remix? I think it was called Born This Way.
That's awesome.
No tea, no shade. Just kidding. Pulls up.
It is, and I actually don't think this one is surprising. It is Me Against the Music,
Mm,
which
okay.
makes sense, I think, in certain ways because I feel like that song should have been so much bigger than it was.
Right. Well, that was also in the aftermath of the VMA kiss.
Oh
So
yeah, 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 yeah,
so a little bit overshadowed, and the controversy around American Life still
yeah.
lingering, and that whole used to be called Dixie Chicks, now I guess
The
that
chicks
whole
or chicks.
chicks mentality in America.
Mm-hmm.
So people really weren't gravitating towards Madonna in 2003 because she was so outspoken, and people didn't want to get chicks. And I think that project and that song, that album, that era was affected by that kind of American fear
Yeah.
in American life. But
Yeah.
that's really Britney's song that Madonna is a feature on. So I approve that being their least favorite because it's not really her song.
Mike, thank you so much for speaking with me and celebrating, pun intended, Finally Enough Love 50 number ones. I'm excited for this release officially and excited for what's to come. There's so
Yeah.
much good stuff coming. I hope you'll come back and, come on again and we'll talk about the next Madonna project.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. We're gonna have to edit this heavily because it's probably like a 6 hour long conversation. And yeah, holiday celebrate. Finally, enough love. And it's on vinyl, it just hits different. You know
Mm,
what I mean? And there's so many other songs that didn't hit number one that are worth revisiting.
I
So
know.
I feel like there might be a lot more coming down the pipeline in terms of revisiting the catalogs, and as well as some new things probably coming because, as we know, she loves to look forward, not necessarily backwards. But I think she's celebrating and enjoying her past successes. And I think this is a good reminder for her that she's like, oh shit,
Yeah,
bitch, I am Madonna. And look
exactly.
what I did. And these are hot. And I think
Exactly.
it's so
How can you
great.
not look at this track list and be like, oh shit, I did that.
You
I
not
did that
listen to
shit.
these songs and be like, and not be like, I heart Madonna.
Right.
Hashtag I heart Madonna.
I get it. Hi, I heart Madonna. I love it. Thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, and where can people follow you?
They sure can. Just look for hashtag Madonna. It's probably one of my posts. But I'm at Mike Killmon. I mean, that's just my simple little personal fan accounts on socials, and MikeKillmon. I'm not sure how interesting I am to follow.
I think you got a lot of cool stuff that you're always pushing. So
Right. So thank you, Madonna. Thank you, iHeart. Thank you, Kyle. And congratulations on everything.
thank you.
And can't wait to jump into this weekend and dance and sing, get up and do my thing.
Finally Enough Love 50 number ones is out right now on everything streaming, the iHeartRadio app, digital, physical, vinyl,
Every,
probably carrier pigeon too, probably.
I mean, it's Madonna. Never say never. There's probably a Morse code version coming soon.